Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Today, we're going to be looking at businesses that don't fail.
Thirsty.
Those ones that seem to just keep on going and going and going.
Sure.
And we're looking specifically at this YouTube video by Cody Sanchez called Businesses That Never Fail.
Mm-hmm.
6 businesses with amazingly low failure rates, backed by data.
I like it data-driven.
Data-driven decisions.
Yes.
So let's jump right in.
Okay.
So Sanchez starts off, and she paints kind of a bleak picture
Oh, yeah.
by citing some statistics from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Okay.
And she says that 20% of small businesses fail in the first year,
Wow.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
50% by year 5.
Oh, my gosh.
And then a whopping 66% by year 10.
So 2/3 of
Sure.
businesses are failing.
Yeah, so that's a lot,
That's tough.
especially if you're just starting out as an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, it can be super scary.
You put your heart and soul into something.
Right, and you're like, oh,
And it just,
I just wasted all this time.
yeah, and then you're afraid to try again.
Right,
There's that recency bias.
recency bias,
Yes, that kicks in.
which can really throw you off.
Totally. Yeah.
So Sanchez kind of says, well, instead of just jumping into anything, use data.
Okay.
Use data to make decisions and look for those businesses that have those low failure rates.
Love that approach.
Yeah. So stack the deck in your favor a little bit.
Mhm.
So what kinds of businesses are we talking about?
So she really emphasizes a few key things.
Okay.
Simple business models,
Okay.
consistent demand,
Uh-huh.
and the potential for passive income.
I like that.
Yeah.
The potential there.
Because everyone wants to make money without, working all the time.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder, as they say.
Exactly.
All right. So let's hear it. What's the first business on the list?
So the first one is laundromats.
Laundromats.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Gotcha.
it's not the sexiest business,
No.
but they're very resilient. And according to Laundry Lux
Hmm.
and a Chamber of Commerce study that they did with Speed Queen,
Okay.
laundromats have about a 94% success rate over 5 years.
94%.
Yeah,
That's really high.
it is.
Okay, I'm listening. Why are laundromats so successful?
Well, think about it. Everybody needs to wash their clothes.
That's true.
It's a very basic human need,
Yeah.
and the demand for that is consistent.
Right, yeah.
People always going to need clean clothes.
Right.
It's also fairly simple to operate.
Yeah, you just put the clothes in the machine, put the soap in,
Exactly.
and press start.
Exactly. You don't need specialized training
Yeah.
or tons of skills.
Right.
It's also great because it lends itself to absentee ownership.
Ah, yeah.
The machines are your employees.
That's a good point. So you can kind of set it and forget it a little bit.
Exactly.
Sanchez actually mentions that she bought a laundromat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for $100,000.
Yeah.
And she ended up making $67,000 from it,
Wow.
which is not bad
That's pretty good.
for just owning a laundromat.
Yeah, it just goes to show that, these businesses that might not be super exciting
Right.
can be really profitable.
Okay, so laundromats, check. What's next on the list of businesses that don't fail?
This one might be a little more familiar.
Okay.
Rental properties.
Rental properties.
Have you ever heard the quote, 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate?
Yeah, Andrew Carnegie.
Yes.
It's a classic line.
It is classic.
But is it true?
Well, it seems. So
Oh.
rental property businesses have an 85.3% success rate.
Oh, wow.
And there are lots of reasons why.
Let's hear. What are those reasons?
Well, first of all, you're dealing with a tangible asset,
Mm-hmm.
the property itself,
For property.
which you can touch, you can see it's there.
Right.
The real estate market is generally pretty efficient,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that property values tend to reflect market conditions.
Right.
And then there's the beauty of monthly cash flow
Right.
in the form of rent.
Right.
You get that consistent income stream every month.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a good tenant, it's great.
Exactly.
It just, pays for itself.
Exactly.
Or even better,
And then there's leverage,
leverage.
the ability to use mortgages to finance your investments.
Right. So the bank is basically your partner.
Exactly. You're using other people's money
I like that.
to build wealth.
Yeah.
That's a powerful concept.
That is a really powerful concept.
So Sanchez does mention that, there are some downsides.
Right.
You have to think about property maintenance,
Yeah.
dealing with tenants.
Yeah. Tenants can be tough,
They can be.
especially if they're not good tenants.
Exactly.
And then, there can be market fluctuations.
Yeah, the market goes up, the market goes down.
Right. And there are all kinds of things that can affect that.
Exactly. But even with all of that, the average monthly profit for rental properties is around $462.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, so that kind of consistent income can really help you build long-term financial stability.
Makes sense.
Okay.
I'm definitely intrigued by rental properties. What's next on this list?
This one is kind of an alternative to the traditional rental property.
Okay.
Self-storage facilities.
Self-storage?
Yeah, Sanchez kind of jokingly calls it real estate with fewer toilets and trash.
Okay, fewer toilets and trash.
Yes.
I can get behind that. But
Yes.
seriously, self-storage, is that really a good business?
It can be.
Right.
According to a Rhino building study,
Okay.
self-storage facilities have had a 92% success rate since 2008.
Wow. 92%. That's incredible. What's driving that success?
A few things.
Okay.
Number one, technology has made it a lot easier to manage these facilities.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've got things like keyless entry, automated bill, sophisticated security systems.
You can basically manage it all from your phone.
Pretty much.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, you can manage it remotely, which is a huge plus.
Right.
You can be anywhere in the world and still manage your self-storage facility.
So I could be sitting on a beach, sipping a margarita,
You
and like checking in on my self-storage facility, making sure everything's going okay.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, so technology is a big driver there.
Yes, and then also you can do what Sanchez calls value-add strategies.
Okay, value add strategies. What does that mean?
That means like you can make simple improvements to the property.
Okay.
Maybe you put in a fresh coat of paint or you upgrade the security features.
So just kind of like spruce it up a little bit.
Yeah, just make it a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
And that can increase the value
Okay.
and attract higher paying customers.
Makes sense.
So it's a really interesting model.
Yeah, and as our lives are getting busier and we're, accumulating more stuff, it seems like self-storage is just going to keep getting more in demand.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a really resilient industry, even during economic downturns.
Right.
You know, when people are downsizing, they need temporary storage during transitions.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So there are all these factors that keep the demand pretty stable.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got laundromats, we've got rental properties, we've got self-storage. What's number 4 on the list?
This one taps into a major economic shift that we've all seen.
Okay.
Transportation businesses, specifically last mile delivery.
Ah, yes, the Amazon Prime world.
Exactly.
We want everything delivered to us like yesterday.
Exactly. Instant gratification.
Yeah. But is it a profitable business?
It can be.
Okay.
According to Advisor Smith,
Mm-hmm.
transportation businesses have a 76.4% success rate.
Okay, so over 3/4 are successful.
Yeah, that includes like a wide range of services, though.
Okay, like what?
So you've got large-scale trucking operations,
Right.
and then you've got individual drivers for companies like Uber and Lyft.
Right. So that's like a really broad spectrum.
Yeah.
Are there any nuances there that, affect those success rates?
Yeah, for sure. Success can vary depending on the type of transportation business.
Okay.
So long-haul trucking faces different challenges
Yeah,
than
yeah.
local delivery services.
Makes sense.
And their profit margins are different.
Yeah.
So it really depends on, what niche you're going for.
Right. What are your skills? What are your interests? All that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So what makes transportation businesses so appealing to entrepreneurs?
One of the things that Sanchez points out is the relatively low upfront expenses.
Okay.
Your vehicle is your primary asset,
Right.
so you don't need a ton of capital to get started.
So it's a pretty accessible business even if you don't have a lot of money to start with.
Exactly. You can kind of scale up as you go.
Interesting. Okay, so before we move on to the final 2,
Yeah.
I kind of want to pause here and get your take
Okay.
on what we've discussed so far. Are any of these businesses that are really catching your eye?
I'm really fascinated by the ones that meet these basic human needs, like
Yeah.
the laundromats
Yeah.
and the rental properties and even the self-storage,
Right.
because those are things that people are always going to need.
Right. It's not like a fad or a trend.
Exactly.
It's like a fundamental need.
Ex-
So it makes sense that those businesses would be more resilient.
exactly.
Interesting. Okay, so those are the ones that are kind of standing out to you.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. What's number 5?
Number 5 might take you back to your childhood.
Okay.
Vending machine routes.
Vending machines.
Yes.
Okay.
I know it's not the most glamorous.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Especially if you think about like the ones that are in like
Yeah.
dingy office break rooms.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm skeptical, but intrigued.
Well, Sanchez says that they can be a low investment starter business.
Okay.
You can get started for as little as $3,000 to $5,000.
That's not bad.
No, not at all.
But can you actually make money doing that?
According to Drop Vending and the U.S. Bureau of Labor,
Okay.
vending machines have a success rate of about 90%.
90%.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
Okay, all right. Convince me, why are vending machines so successful?
So they have a simple business model.
Okay.
Find a good location,
All right.
high foot traffic,
Nice.
negotiate fees with the property owner, manage your inventory, keep those machines stocked.
Keep them stocked, yeah.
And Sanchez has some really interesting stories about people who are doing incredibly well with vending machines.
Like what? Give me some examples.
So she mentions a friend who owns a chain of healthy food vending machines.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, catering to the health-conscious crowd.
Makes sense.
And then there's Candace Nelson,
Okay.
the founder of Sprinkles Cupcakes.
Oh, yeah. I love Sprinkles cupcakes.
Yeah, so she has successfully ventured into cupcake vending machines.
Cupcake vending machines.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I would love a cupcake vending machine near me.
Right.
Okay, I'm sold.
They're pretty cool.
All right, so we've got simple business model, relatively low investment, and potentially high rewards.
Exactly.
All right, what's the last one on the list?
This one might surprise you.
Okay, hit me.
Senior care center.
Senior care centers.
Yeah,
That doesn't immediately scream low failure rate to me.
I know, right?
It just seems like it would be really complicated.
Yeah.
A lot of regulations,
Lots of rules.
a lot of overhead.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
But Sanchez actually makes a pretty good case for why they have a low failure rate.
Oh,
Yeah.
convince me.
All right, so first of all, there's government support
Okay.
in the form of subsidies.
So the government's helping to prop up this industry.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which helps to stabilize it.
That makes sense.
And then there's the demographic trend of an aging population.
Oh, yeah. That's a huge trend.
It is huge.
Especially in developed countries.
Exactly. So the demand for senior care is only going to increase.
It's only going to go up.
It's going to go up.
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah. And the last thing is you don't necessarily need to invest millions of dollars up front.
Oh, phew. That's a relief because I was kind of imagining like these massive facilities and all the costs that would come with that.
Yeah. So Sanchez points out that you can start small.
Okay, how so?
You can rent or buy a house and then obtain the necessary certifications to provide assisted living services.
It's kind of like a smaller scale operation.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's more manageable than I initially thought.
Much more manageable.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
Yeah.
We've got laundromats, we've got rental properties,
Yeah.
self-storage facilities, transportation businesses, vending machines, and senior care centers.
Yeah, quite a range.
A very diverse list.
It is.
What ties all of these together? What are the common threads that make these businesses so resilient?
That's a great question, and it's something I think we should delve into.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I'm curious, what are your initial reactions to all of these businesses?
Yeah.
Which ones are piquing your interest and why?
Honestly, I'm kind of drawn to the simplicity of the laundromats and the vending machines. Just the idea that those machines are working for me 24/7 is really appealing.
The passive income potential is definitely attractive.
Yeah, but I also see the long-term potential of the rental properties.
Yeah.
And the self-storage facilities. And then, senior care,
Yeah.
while maybe not as glamorous,
Yeah.
is definitely addressing a growing need.
It is.
So I see the value in all of them.
Yeah.
But I think for me, those first two are really standing out.
It's great that you're considering the long-term potential and the market trends. That's really important.
Yeah.
When you're choosing a business, you want something that's not only profitable, but also sustainable.
Right, because what's the point of making a bunch of money now if it's just going to fizzle out in a couple of years?
Exactly.
You want something that's going to last.
Exactly.
And you mentioned those set it and forget it businesses.
Yes.
Like the laundromats and the vending machines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is appealing.
It is appealing.
Especially if you're looking for those passive income streams.
Absolutely.
But I'm also realizing that passive doesn't always mean hands off.
Right.
You still have to manage those businesses.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if it's from a distance.
Absolutely. Any successful business is going to require
some level of management and oversight.
Yeah.
You've got to find reliable suppliers.
Right.
Maintain your equipment.
Yeah.
Handle customer issues.
Right.
All of those things don't magically disappear just because you're not physically present at the business.
Yeah, so it's easy to romanticize that idea.
Totally.
Passive income.
Yeah.
But the reality is that every business is going to take work and effort.
It will, but the beauty of these businesses is that they tend to have systems and processes that you can streamline.
Okay.
And in some cases, automate.
Yeah.
So while you're always going to have responsibilities as a business owner, you can set up systems that minimize your day-to-day involvement.
Okay, so it's about finding that balance between passive income potential and active management.
Exactly. Finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, but let's go back to what you're saying about market trends.
Okay.
How do we identify those trends?
That's where Cody Sanchez's emphasis on data becomes really valuable.
She's not just randomly selecting these 6 businesses.
Right.
She's using data to figure out which industries are growing and which industries are likely to continue growing.
So it's not just about like what's hot right now.
Right.
It's about looking at those long-term trends.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about businesses that are tapping into these like massive societal shifts.
Yeah.
Like the aging population, the rise of e-commerce,
Yes.
the demand for convenience and flexibility.
Absolutely.
So for example, you mentioned senior care centers.
Yes.
That's directly tied to the fact that people are living longer.
Exactly.
That's not a trend that's going away.
It's not going anywhere.
People are going to keep living longer.
Longer and longer.
And they're going to need more care as they age.
Yep.
And then, the rise of e-commerce has fueled those transportation and logistics businesses.
Absolutely.
Because somebody has to get those packages from point A to point B.
Exactly. We want our stuff now.
Exactly. So these are these huge trends that are reshaping our world.
Yes, they are.
And they're creating a lot of entrepreneurial opportunities.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get even more specific.
Okay.
Let's say I'm really interested in a business that offers both consistent income and the potential for scalability.
Mm-hmm.
Which of these 6 businesses would you recommend I explore further?
That's a great question, and it really depends on your preferences and your risk tolerance.
Sure.
But based on your criteria, I would say take a look at rental properties and self-storage facilities.
Interesting. Why those 2?
Well, rental properties offer that steady monthly income stream from the rent payments. And as your portfolio grows, you can scale up your business by acquiring more property.
So you can just keep adding.
Keep adding, keep growing.
Yeah.
It's a proven model for wealth creation, like Andrew Carnegie said.
Yeah, and the data backs it up.
It does.
Okay, what about self-storage? How does that fit in?
So self-storage facilities also provide consistent income through monthly rental fees.
Okay.
And like we discussed earlier, technology has made it really easy to manage these businesses remotely.
Right.
So you can scale up by adding more units, acquiring additional facilities, or even offering value-added services like packing supplies or moving assistance.
So there's a lot of potential there.
There is.
Okay, before we go out and buy a laundromat or a fleet of delivery trucks, I want to bring this back to our listeners who are on their own entrepreneurial journey.
Yes.
What advice would you give them as they're kind of considering these different options?
I think the most important thing is to align your business choice with your own skills, your interests, and your risk tolerance.
Right.
Data is a valuable tool.
Yeah.
But it's not the only factor.
So it's not just about chasing those high success rates or the biggest potential profits.
It's about finding a business that you're actually passionate about, that fits your lifestyle and your goals.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, it's going to be a slog.
It's going to be tough.
Yeah.
And ultimately, your passion and dedication are going to be the driving forces behind your success.
That's a great point.
No business is truly fail-proof.
Right.
There are always going to be challenges and obstacles.
Right.
But if you're passionate about what you're doing and you're willing to put in the work, you're much more likely to persevere.
I love that.
Than build a thriving business.
So it's about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah.
Where data-driven decision-making meets personal passion and a willingness to kind of roll up your sleeves and get things done.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's not just about like being smart and looking at the numbers. It's also about
following your heart.
Following your heart and your gut.
Yeah, and finding something that you're actually excited to work on.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a really great message, I think.
For anyone who's thinking about starting a business.
Absolutely.
But let's not forget that even with all the passion and dedication in the world, you still need knowledge and skills to build a successful business.
You do.
So what advice would you give to our listeners about how to acquire those essential tools?
Never stop learning. Never underestimate the power of mentorship and networking. Dive deep into the industries that you're interested in. Read books, attend workshops, connect with other entrepreneurs who are already doing it.
So it's about actively seeking out that knowledge and that guidance from people who've been there and done that.
Absolutely.
And who can share their wisdom.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial journey can be challenging.
Right.
but it's also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself with a supportive community of mentors and peers can make all the difference.
It can make all the difference.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've explored these 6 businesses with these really impressive success rates. We've talked about the importance of aligning your business choice with your passion and your skills. And we've emphasized the value of continuous learning and mentorship.
Absolutely.
But before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought-provoking question.
Ooh, like it.
What if we take this concept of businesses that don't fail a step further?
Okay, I'm listening.
What if, instead of just focusing on these specific industries, we look for the underlying principles that make these businesses successful?
I like that.
So we've touched on a few already.
Yeah.
Meeting basic needs, simple business models, scalability. But I think there's more to uncover.
I think so too.
So what are those common threads that weave through all of these seemingly different industries?
Right.
And how can we apply those principles to any business, regardless of the industry?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right.
I love it.
So it's like we're cracking the code of business resilience.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
So that's the challenge I want to leave with all of our listeners.
Okay.
How can we build businesses that are not only profitable, but also sustainable, adaptable, and built to last?
That is the question.
That's the question.
Love it.
So we're shifting from this like reactive mindset of avoiding failure to this proactive approach of building businesses that are designed to thrive. No matter what challenges come our way.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's not just about playing not to lose. It's about playing to win.
Exactly.
In the long game.
Yes. The long game of entrepreneurship.
The long game of entrepreneurship. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's a great place to pause.
Okay.
We're going to pick up this conversation next week.
Sounds good.
So be sure to tune in, and we'll continue this exploration of businesses that don't fail.
Looking forward to it.
All right, we'll see you then.
See you then.
I love that shift in perspective. It's not just about surviving.
Right.
It's about building something that really makes a difference and stands the test of time.
Exactly. And I think that's where the real excitement lies, It's about pushing beyond that fear of failure and embracing the challenge of creating something that's meaningful and enduring. And think about those 6 businesses that we talked about. They all address fundamental human needs. That's a really powerful starting point.
Right. When you're meeting a genuine need in the market, you're creating value that people are willing to pay for.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for long-term success.
And if you can combine that with a simple, easy-to-understand business model, that's even better.
Absolutely. Complexity often breeds confusion and inefficiency.
Right.
So keeping things streamlined and straightforward can make a world of difference.
Yeah. So we're seeing a pattern here, right? Meeting basic needs, keeping it simple, and building in scalability so you can grow your business over time.
Exactly.
These are principles that can apply to any industry.
Absolutely.
Right.
Think about it. What are the fundamental needs in your community?
Yeah.
Or in the world at large?
Right.
How can you create a business that addresses those needs in a way that's efficient, scalable, and sustainable?
I love that.
Those are the questions that can spark some really innovative and impactful entrepreneurial adventures.
So we're shifting from this like reactive mindset to a proactive one.
Yes.
Instead of just trying to avoid failure, we're actively seeking out opportunities to create businesses that are built to thrive.
That's the key.
Yeah. And I think that's where the real magic happens.
I agree.
When you combine data-driven insights with creative problem solving and a passion for making a difference, you have the potential to build something truly extraordinary.
Absolutely.
What an inspiring note to end on.
Yeah.
So to all of our listeners out there, as you embark on your own entrepreneurial adventures, remember, this data can guide you. Passion can fuel you.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, it's your vision, your dedication, and your commitment to building something that matters that will determine your success.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
And never stop learning.
Yes.
Never stop adapting. And never be afraid to challenge the status quo.
Love it.
The world of business is constantly evolving.
It is.
And those who embrace change and innovation are the ones who will thrive.
Absolutely.
So go out there, be bold, be brilliant, and build businesses that don't just survive. But truly flourish.
Love it.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep. See you later.
I love that.
Right.
It's like we're not just talking about staying afloat.
Right.
We're talking about, like, really thriving.
Absolutely. Building something that's going to make a real impact.
And leave a legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you mentioned earlier that all of these businesses that we've talked about, they all address fundamental human needs.
They do.
And that's such a powerful starting point for any business.
It is. When you meet a genuine need in the market,
Yeah.
you're creating value that people are willing to pay for.
Exactly.
And that's a recipe for success.
And if you can combine that with a simple business model,
yeah,
even better.
Absolutely. Keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
So we're seeing those common threads again, right?
Yes.
Meeting those basic needs,
Yeah.
keeping it simple, and building in that scalability so you can grow your business over time.
Exactly.
These are principles that can apply to any industry.
Absolutely, they can.
Right.
Yeah. Think about it. What are the fundamental needs in your community?
Yeah.
In the world? How can you create a business that addresses those needs?
Right.
In a way that's efficient, scalable, and sustainable?
I love that.
Yeah, those are the questions that can spark some really incredible businesses.
So it's like we're moving from that reactive mindset to that proactive one.
I love it.
Instead of just trying to avoid failure, we're actually looking for those opportunities to create businesses that are built to last.
Absolutely.
And I think that's where the real magic happens.
I agree.
When you combine those data-driven insights with creative problem solving and a passion for making a difference.
It's a powerful combination.
It is.
Yeah.
So to all of our listeners out there, as you're embarking on your own entrepreneurial adventures, remember this data can guide you. Passion can fuel you.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, it's your vision, your dedication, and your commitment to building something that matters.
Yes.
That will determine your success.
Love it.
And never stop learning. Never stop adapting, and never be afraid to challenge the status quo.
That's so important.
It is.
Yeah.
The world is constantly changing.
It is.
The world of business is constantly changing.
Absolutely.
And those who embrace change and innovation are the ones who will thrive.
Couldn't agree more.
So go out there, be bold, be brilliant, and build businesses that don't just survive, but truly flourish.
Love it.
And until next time, keep diving deep.
Keep diving deep.